know the matchups. Who will face off on each of the two nights of the first Democratic primary debates hosted by NBC News? Here they are. The announcement comes less than 24 hours after finding out which 20 candidates made the cut for the debate stage. The two-hour event will air on June 26th and June 27th, live from Miami, right here on MSNBC, on NBC News, and Telemundo. Joining me now, NBC national political correspondent Steve Kornacki. I think arguably this is one of the key moments in all of the campaign, right? It's going to be a long campaign, but for a lot of these 1%ers, 2%ers, their first chance in front of millions of people. So my question for you is, let's start with night one. A lot of people are already saying, well, this is a chance for Elizabeth Warren as the one sort of top-tier candidate to shine. I wonder if it doesn't provide an even bigger opening without, say, a Biden or a Bernie for some of these people who are lower in the polls to break through.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, you can call this one the opportunity debate, the first night debate. Elizabeth Warren, there are 5 candidates right now, this massive Democratic field. There are 5 candidates right now who are really getting measurable traction in the polls. 4 of them are going to be in the second night debate. Only one of them, Warren, is going to be in the first night debate. So as you say, opportunity for Warren to walk on this stage and be the biggest star on this stage and potentially own this stage. That's the upside potential for her. For these other candidates, though, they are facing different challenges. An obvious one here is Beto O'Rourke, somebody who got into this race with some expectations, but really his trajectory has gone south ever since then. He's not going to be overshadowed on this stage by a Biden, by a Sanders, by a Buttigieg, by a Harris. So there is an opportunity there for a reintroduction for a Beto O'Rourke. Some of these other candidates, though, John Delaney, Bill de Blasio, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Jay Inslee, Tim Ryan in particular, these are candidates right now. Remember, as this debate season and as this campaign progresses and we get into the fall, the criteria that they use to get into subsequent debates, it's going to increase. The thresholds for polling support, the thresholds for donations received are going to increase just to make the stage. So candidates like Ryan, Inslee, Gabbard, Delaney, they right now need to have some kind of a breakout performance. This is probably the best opportunity they're going to get to start getting the difference for them between getting between 0 and 1% in the polls, which is largely what they've been doing so far, and getting 3, 4, 5%. That is the difference over the next few months as this campaign progresses to being included in future debates or not. So I say opportunity debate. They're not going to be overshadowed by most of those bigger names who are leading the field right now. They're probably going to get, there's a lot of candidates, 3 or 4 at-bats, let's say. If one of those candidates can knock it out of the park on one of those at-bats, that could be the difference between staying in this thing through the fall.
And also 3 women at that debate. But let's go to night 2, because that's where what arguably a lot of the heavy hitters are going to be there. There you see Joe Biden is in that debate. Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris. I'm so curious right now, inside their war rooms, per se, how this changes their strategy, that they're in a debate with so many other big name contenders.
Right. So many variables now. And of course, look, the DNC, the way this was structured, the way this draw was structured, they were trying to get a mix and match. They were trying to get some from the top tier, some from the bottom, get a sort of a broad mix each night. But ultimately, it does become luck of the draw. They took the top performing candidates. They kind of put them in a hat. Half were going to go one night, half were going to go the other. But the luck of the draw, as you say, Biden's number 1 in the polls right now. Sanders is number 2 in the polls right now. It's a bit of a shuffle behind that. But Harris, Buttigieg, they are right up there. And again, Warren's the only other one that's really registering. So you got 4 of the 5 heavy hitters at this point are going to be on that second night stage. Obviously, Biden comes in the front runner, and the immediate question becomes specifically these other 3. Does one of them, do all of them come in with a plan to directly go after Joe Biden? Does Bernie Sanders want to confront Joe Biden and try to draw a stark ideological contrast between him and say, Joe Biden, you're the candidate of the establishment. This is why we need a revolution. This is why the establishment doesn't work. How does he choose? How do these others choose to engage with Biden?
Yeah, and I was looking at the numbers for the big Republican debates, the first debates 3 years ago. We're looking at 23, 24 million people. And for folks frankly, who aren't known except by people like us who do deep dives every day on politics. Big opportunity.
Best exposure they're going to get. Yep.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.